Hi, my name's Steve Frye, and welcome to my backyard. In this edition of Boulder Birdman, we're going to talk about attracting birds to your backyard and also the elements of backyard habitat. I often have customers ask me what's important in terms of attracting birds to their backyard, and the very most important thing is habitat. And habitat is a mixture of several elements. One would be food and water and shelter and space. So when you're designing your backyard as a habitat, you want to take into account several factors. To get a diversity of structure in your backyard will also give you a diversity of wildlife in the backyard. In my backyard here, you can see that, first of all, we have some big trees. Now, you may not have big trees right now in your yard, but of course you can always plan for big trees. And then it's important to have a medium kind of structure. I have a lilac bush over here and some other small fruit trees along the side between my neighbor's yard and my yard. We have some medium-sized trees, and we have some bushes. You'd want to have some flowers and some grass and open space. You can't fill up your entire space because space is a very important element to the whole thing. So when the leaves aren't falling and clogging up my fountain, this fountain runs, and that provides water for the birds. It also gives a nice sound. And I filled up the top part of this fountain with gravel to make it shallow, because the birds like to bathe in a shallow area. They won't bathe in anything more than about an inch or inch and a half deep. So this is another bird bath that I designed to be a passive solar bird bath, and it's made out of copper. There are 4 different kinds of feeders. This one is a tube feeder. And you'll notice a few things about it. One is that it's underneath a squirrel baffle. And this shield above the top is to prevent squirrels from coming down and getting on the feeder. And this is a platform feeder in my backyard, a big platform feeder. I'm filling this with sunflower chips. And sunflower chips are one of our most popular foods. The birds love sunflower chips, and they don't have any shells, so you don't get the shell mess underneath your feeder. Another kind of feeder is a platform feeder, and that's simply just a flat tray. This one, of course, is covered with a roof, so when it snows a lot in the wintertime, the seed is still available to the birds. That one is not squirrel proof, but you know, I don't care. My philosophy on the squirrels has always been that I keep them out of a few feeders and I let them in on certain feeders, and we all get along. I'll show you another one of my favorite feeders back here. I have many hidden feeders in my yard. This is a trough feeder. It's essentially a platform feeder that's just long, but it's one of my favorite feeders and one of the birds' favorite feeders. Here's another one of my hidden feeders. It's made out of terracotta, and it just looks like an old stump. And I filled it most of the way with gravel, and then I put peanuts in there for the squirrels and the jays. This is a Niger seed feeder, and Niger seed is attractive to goldfinches and pine siskins. They're a little bit shy. We usually suggest to people that they not put their Niger feeder right up against the house. Another kind of feeder is a suet feeder, and suet feeders are attractive to chickadees, nuthatches, and woodpeckers. And this big long tail prop provides ample space for even large woodpeckers like flickers. Birds kind of like to step their way to food rather than leap their way, so even when a downy comes to this feeder, it'll fly down to the bottom here and then work its way up to where it's going to eat. And then over here is my hummingbird feeder. Now, one of the common things that we deal with at the store, one of the common questions is that does feeding the birds make them dependent? Or do you need to take your hummingbird feeder down at a particular time in order for them to leave? And the answer is no. Actually, it's almost the exact opposite. If you feed the hummingbirds, that will actually help them leave, not prevent them from leaving, because they need to get to a certain body condition in order to migrate. Those are birdhouses. The chickadees use those. Birdhouses are really just for nesting. See, it's kind of a messy affair, but that's the chickadee's nest in there. And you can see that it's made out of a lot of mosses. It's very light and fluffy. Studies have shown that they have better nesting success if they make a new nest. if you force them to make a new nest, then it's not infested with bugs and possibly diseases, so it's a healthier situation for